come and arrest him. Should he do it?
I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows.
Okay, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. I like him, he's terrible and he should probably be in jail. Whatever, I don't particularly care about that. So he's saying that Tom Homan, the borders, I don't know what authority Tom Homan would have on this to arrest him, but he should arrest a sitting governor. Why? Don't like him. Don't like, he's done a bad job. You can just arrest people if they've done a bad job, by the way, which is why I think we should arrest Donald Trump. Of course, he willingly, hundreds of thousands of Americans died during the pandemic, famously. And so he's done a bad job. I guess that's a crime, I suppose, under the lawless America that we have right now. Some people they want a little bit more detail though. Maybe Trump, could you like pretend that there's some justification for locking up a blue state governor? And this is the best he's got.
What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country.
Yeah, so look, with Trump, who's to ever say if this is supposed to be serious, supposed to be a joke? I mean, he could be joking and then he can also lock up the opposition. I mean, think about how many laws, how many judicial orders he's already violated, how many times he's violated the Constitution. Right now in LA, right now, they're violating the law, they're violating the Constitution. So yeah, he ran for, like, he's joking, but he's also serious. What did Gavin Newsom do that was wrong? Well, he disagrees with me. He ran for office. That's it. That's literally why he should possibly be locked up, and that should be it for him. And like, he just feels comfortable saying it. Like, we are speed running the descent of America, everyone. And it's not like Gavin Newsom is Bernie Sanders or AOC. Like, Gavin Newsom is sitting down and doing podcasts with Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon. He's trying to work with MAGA, and they might literally lock him up. This is not my guy. This is not my champion. But I feel like, to be consistent, I have to stand up for the idea that you can't simply lock people up because they are a member of the opposition party. Don't really understand. Again, if doing a bad job justifies being locked up, I'll point you to the stock market, the economy, what Donald Trump has done with all of that. We can go issue by issue if you want. The fact that he's gonna do this bill, it's gonna jack up the debt, which we'll talk about more, and take away people's health care, which we'll talk about more. If that's all the justification necessary, then go get him, boys. Lock him up. Sharon, what do you think?
When you're a king, you can do whatever you want. They'll let you do whatever you want, okay? This kind of trading out that one disgusting speech that he had on that Access Hollywood bus for another. They'll let you do whatever you want. Could be about Gavin Newsom having perfect hair. I could see how that would bother Trump. Look, who's going to check him, boo? He said what he said, and you're right, okay? He seems to be joking, but the way his mind works, he'd call it beautiful, I'd call it something else. You never know. I absolutely think he would have endorsed and probably likes saying Homan should arrest him and lock him up. We already saw the Newark mayor arrested, and people believe that there's circumstantial evidence that came from another call, another place, perhaps within the administration. So it's not far-fetched. He wants the chaos, he wants the circus coming to town. You were at the zoo this weekend. Here comes the circus. It's going to continue.
Yeah, exactly. Gavin Newsom responded, by the way, saying the president of the United States just called for the arrest of a sitting governor. This is a day I hoped I would never see in America. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. This is a line we cannot cross as a nation. This is an unmistakable step toward authoritarianism. And that last bit is a reminder, this is not Ilhan Omar. This is not AOC. Gavin Newsom has been threatened with being locked up. And he's like, you know what? I think we're moving towards authoritarianism. Like, dude, we're so far beyond that. Like, catch up, buddy. He's gonna be like sitting in his cell, like some norms are being violated. Like, yeah, I think so, actually. I've noticed that too, Gavin. This is really bad, actually. In any event, let's check in with the guy who Trump wants to arrest Gavin Newsom. Tom Homan here, he's on Fox.
They can't impede our enforcement efforts. They can't put hands on our officers. They can't knowingly harbor and conceal illegal aliens from us. I said, so if they cross that line, they're going to be prosecuted. And the question was, well, how about Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom? Or if they cross that line? I says, they'll be prosecuted too. Haven't they said for the last 4 years, no one's above the law? They cross the line, we'll seek prosecution. You and I would be held accountable. They prosecuted President Trump. No one's above the law. That's what they said. Either is the Governor Newsom. If he crosses that line, we'll simply ask the Attorney General to seek prosecution. It wasn't a threat. No one threatened to arrest him. But if he crosses that line and commits a crime, he's no better than anybody else. We'll seek prosecution.
Cool hat. Anyway, yeah. So first of all, unfortunately, some people are above the law. Like Trump is above the law. Supreme Court said it. We know that. Now, of course, he referenced the prior prosecution back when the president was actually bound by the law in that ancient history of America. That was, of course, Trump breaking multiple laws in full plain sight. Tom Homan at that time didn't care about that. He still doesn't care. And of course, he was one of those years of, oh, this is weaponization. Look at them going after their political opponents. Instantly, he is salivating at the possibility of locking up Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. And again, these are not wild-eyed commie progressives or whatever. They're talking about locking up Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, two totally normal, regular, mainstream, run-of-the-mill Democrats, and they're skipping, I guess, the easy ones of locking up the radicals or whatever. But it's just crazy, Sharon. Gavin Newsom said, we hope we never get to this point. I feared that we're moving towards this point, but we've made a lot of progress in less than 200 days of Trump's first term.
Yeah, we have. I mean, I just
the first year of the second term, I should say.
Sure, it seems like it's just been on and on and on. I just saw an interview with Mayor Bass, and she was flabbergasted. She just got off the phone with Tom Homan. It's not happening. Gavin Newsom hasn't put his hands on the National Guard or the Marines, and Karen Bass hasn't taken her foot out and tried to trip someone as they were, headed for cover. It didn't happen, okay? But this is the theater of it. Paint the picture. This is drama. This is reality TV with real life consequences for, again, an American public on both sides of the aisle that is waking up to what is going on here and realizing we got to do something, taking to the streets in this manner. And still, it wasn't the chaos that even demanded that you have anyone come in. No one needs to be there except the people who need to be there. And it's not the National Guard, and it's certainly not the Marines who can't even touch their weapons and are like, what are we doing here?
Exactly, yeah, and a lot of the National Guard, as Gavin Newsom pointed out, are sleeping like piled up on the floor of places because there was no planning for any of this. Because Trump he does not give a damn about these soldiers. They're a faceless, anonymous tool of authoritarianism. He doesn't care about them at all. He literally never has. And I want everyone to just step back. We're gonna move on to one more aspect of this insight. I want everyone to step back and just realize what you have with a guy like Trump in charge, which is if your city's literally burning, like there's actual fires, you need a nationwide weeks of a story to get him to help out literally at all. And remember, it's not just the blue states. He's done this to red states too. When they have hurricanes, when they have earthquakes, when they have tornadoes, he doesn't care. He leaves you alone. Houses destroyed, infrastructure destroyed, whatever. You have to twist his arm to the breaking point to get him to begrudgingly give you a little bit of aid, whether you're blue or you're red. If there's a protest though, like no expense will be spared. They're gonna spend billions cracking down on these things, and not just here. If we could put up a little bit of this B-roll, protests are developing in Texas out of this too. You're gonna see footage out of Dallas where one of these protests is happening now. There's not National Guard there, and there's not the Marines. There was just protesters and police, so it ended that night. Maybe it'll come back. This is how this works. Now, if Trump wants, he can send in the National Guard and maybe he can make another big blow up out of this thing. But they're willing to spend it on that to do their grandstanding, their show of force, to crack down on free speech and free expression, free association. There is no limit to what they will spend on that. But if your life, if your family's life, if your property is ever actually on the line from a natural disaster, from a disease perhaps rampaging across America, dude doesn't give a damn about that stuff. It is only fictional threats that they are equipped or willing or interested in actually opposing.